Imagine a book that is so powerful that it changes the entire course of your business and business plan. That was The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek for me, which is what we're going to be talking about in this first episode of Book Club, where I read books for you and then just teach you everything I learned. This is the perfect book for anyone who is at a leadership role at work, lead any type of team, or you just want to improve your mindset so that you can reach your goals faster and in a more fulfilling way. The Infinite Game is a term coined by Simon Sinek, which represents the mindset of having the ultimate goal to improve the world in order to perpetuate the game. It is a little bit of a paradox because in order to win the infinite game, you have to stop thinking about who's winning, who's the best, and start thinking about how to build an organization strong enough to remain in the game indefinitely. The goal is to keep the company thriving for many generations to come, so you have to think in a very high level way and you have to plan for beyond your success. So how do you adopt the infinite mindset and why is it so important? There are 5 essential practices when it comes to adopting the infinite mindset. You have to advance a just cause, you have to build trusting teams, you have to study your worthy rivals, prepare for existential flexibility, and demonstrate the courage to lead. I'm going to go over all 5 of these practices, and in the end, you're going to see why this is the ultimate strategy to grow any business. There's a couple differences between infinite game and finite games. Finite games are played by known players. There are fixed rules and agreed upon objectives that, when reached, finishes the game. There's pretty much always going to be a beginning, middle, and end. Whereas infinite games are played by known and unknown players. There are no exact agreed upon rules and players can operate however they want. When you're playing a finite game, your goals are typically something like, I want to make X amount of dollars. I want our company's MRR, or monthly recurring revenue, to be this much. Whereas when you're playing an infinite game, your goals are to make the world better, and they're typically so big and lofty that they are, for lack of a better word, unachievable. So let's start with the just cause. If you feel like you've heard the name Simon Sinek before, it's because he has a really popular book as well as a TED Talk called Start With Why. Now, there is a difference between your why and your just cause. Your why is typically rooted in the past. It's your origin story. It's a statement of who you are. It's also the sum of all your values and beliefs, and it's the foundation of who you are and what you do. So for example, Simon Sinek's why is to inspire others to do what inspires them, so together they can make a positive change in the world. Your just cause, however, is rooted in the future, and it's something that doesn't exist yet. It's a world that we hope to live in and want to help build, and unlike your why, where there can only be one, you can advance many just causes at the same time. So in Simon's case, his just cause is to build a world where people wake up feeling inspired, feel safe at work, and return home feeling fulfilled every day. If you put it in business terms, your just cause should be similar to your vision statement. Your vision statement should always be this big, lofty goal of what you want to see changed in the world. Whereas compared to your mission statement, that is more so about who you are and how you're going to get there. The reason it's so important to have a just cause is because winning and achieving those monetary wins or small wins is only a fleeting feeling. But when you have a vision and a just cause, that is what's going to help keep you motivated and make you feel fulfilled about your work. So when you're identifying your just cause, remember that it should be big and bold and ultimately unachievable. It should also be resilient, so something that's going to last through political, cultural, or technical change. It should be inclusive, so it should be open to anyone who wants to help you make this better world. It has to be service-oriented, so the primary benefit has to be for others, and it has to be for something. It has to be positive and it has to be affirmative. Now that we kind of have an idea of what he's talking about when he says that you have to have a just cause, the next practice to focus on is to build a trusting team. You often hear companies ask, how do I get the most out of my people? But at the root of it, that question is flawed. The right question should be, how do I create an environment where my team can work at their natural best? Unfortunately, in today's corporate world and business world, when something goes wrong or when something needs to go right, the people are often at blame. But what you need to remember as a leader who's trying to adopt an infinite mindset is that it's not about the people. The blame shouldn't be on them. It's about the leader who leads the people who can make the greater difference. That's why an infinite leader has to prioritize people over results. And to do that, you have to prioritize will over resources. Your resources are your tangible and easily measured things. It typically will come from external sources. So this is your money, your revenue, your profit, whereas your will come from internal sources. It's not easily measured and it's intangible, and it's the feeling that people have when they come to work. So it's stuff like morale, communication, inspiration, and commitment. When you're able to focus on these things rather than your resources, ultimately your company will go so much further. Every business aims to have a team that are go-getters, that are autonomous, and that want to and is willing to commit to the company goals. But in order to do that, it's up to you as a leader to create that environment. He makes the point that infinite leaders have to overlook the financial pressures and try their best to prioritize people over profit as much as possible. Yes, sometimes in the short term, that may affect your immediate profits, but the goal here is to build a team who is willing to build the company with you. And ultimately, that will result in a more successful company in the long run. And investing in humans means more than just paying them well and giving them a nice place to work. It means you have to treat these humans like humans and understand that they have their own fears, ambitions, goals, ideas, and opinions, and ultimately want to feel like that they matter. The great thing about prioritizing will over resources is, unlike resources, we can generate an unlimited amount of will. And in order to do that, you have to build a trusting team. He makes the point that there is a big difference between people we work with and people we work with that we trust. I've been in both situations. I've been in toxic work environments where I felt like I couldn't really trust my team to accomplish things. And when that feeling is there, it's hard to find the motivation to excel at your work as well. Whereas very recently, I've been on a team where I work with people that I know will do the job right, care about the company, and that I can trust. And that makes a world of difference when it comes to how much effort and time I want to put into my work. Brené Brown defines trust as stacking and layering small moments and the reciprocal vulnerability that builds over time. In order to build a trusting team and a healthy team environment, you have to create a space where people feel like they can express themselves and share what they need help with. Now, I just want to say, feeling safe to express our emotions at work is not the same as lacking emotional professionalism. It's important that as a leader, you always make the team feel like when you have a problem, that you have a problem and that you are not the problem. So practice 2 is all about creating a space where communication can flow, people feel like they can lean on each other, mistakes are highlighted only to help try to figure how the team can better it the next time around, and that help is going to be offered and received openly. The key thing to remember here is that when leaders prioritize trust over performance, performance will always follow. Practice 3 is all about studying your worthy rivals. A lot of the times, companies will see their competitors as competitors and not worthy rivals. The difference is when you have a competitor, you're trying to win, you're trying to be better than them. But when you have a worthy rival, what you're trying to do is you're trying to analyze what they're doing well and how they are better than you in order to learn from it and better your company as well. The example that he gave was of Apple and IBM in their long-term rivalry. When IBM came out and announced that they were creating a personal computer, instead of shying away or getting back to work and really trying to beat IBM in the game, what Apple did was pretty incredible. Apple actually bought out an ad space and released this ad. They literally paid money for a public domain just to welcome IBM into the game. The ad reads, "Welcome to the most exciting and important marketplace since the computer revolution began 35 years ago, and congratulations on your first personal computer." I'm not going to read the entire ad, but I think the most important lines to take note of are the last few lines. They said, and I quote, "We look forward to responsible competition in the massive massive effort to distribute this American technology to the world, and we appreciate the magnitude of your commitment, because what we're doing is increasing social capital by enhancing individual productivity. Welcome to the task. Apple recognized right away that IBM is not a competitor. They are actually somebody who's going to help them advance their just cause. By having another massive tech company join this market, Apple realized that IBM is actually going to help them generate more demand and grow that market. When you have competitors, you're going to be competing for buyers. But when you have worthy rivals, what you're really both doing is looking for followers. Trying to be the best, the most successful is always going to be a fool's errand, because the truth of the matter is there's enough room and space for more than one party to do well. Identifying worthy rivals will actually push you so much further than any advisors or coaches ever will. Rivals will push us to get better at what we do, but also get clear about why we're doing it. And when you can define a primary rival to focus on, it's going to shape your direction in how you want to allocate your resources, your time, and where to point your energy. However, make sure that you're also being flexible in understanding who your rivals really are. Because at the end of the day, your rivals are going to help you adapt and innovate. And sometimes, like in the case of publishers versus Amazon or Blockbuster versus Netflix, if you don't see certain innovations, new companies, or technologies as worthy rivals, they might come back and bite you in the ass, which is a great leeway into practice number 4, which is to prepare for existential flexibility. There's this really cool story in the book about Walt Disney that I actually did not know about. So Walt Disney obviously started by creating movies. He wanted to create these magical animated movies for people to enjoy. However, did you know that Walt Disney actually quit Disney, the movie makers, for a while to create a whole other company called WED so that he can create Disneyland? He was realizing that Disney, the movie company, yes, it was working towards the just cause, but the direction was getting kind of blurry. So he wanted to go and create something alive, something that could always improve and be changed, to continue creating that magic and to advance his just cause. And that's what having existential flexibility is all about. It's about having the capacity to initiate those extreme disruptions to a business model or business strategy to more effectively advance your just cause. As an infinite leader, you have to have appreciation for the unpredictable. You have to keep your eye past the horizon even to make sure you're staying on top of new innovations, new changes in the world, and really trying your best to adapt and learn from it. Now, don't confuse this with the shiny thing syndrome, which is when there is a new hot idea, you jump ship to that new idea to try to pursue it. And existential flex is more about keeping a pulse check on the current market and knowing what innovations and technologies are coming and what direction you're moving towards. So when you realize that your business is no longer working towards that just cause, you can make the necessary changes that are going to propel you towards your just cause. In most cases, when a company fails, it's because the leader has failed to be prepared to make that existential flex. Having that mindset and preparing for those changes is going to be really scary, which brings me to practice number 5, which is to demonstrate the courage to lead. I think we all know by now that being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, being a leader in a company, it takes courage, because it's scary to have that willingness to take risks for an unknown future. It's much easier to tinker with the days, weeks, months, and even years, but to keep an eye on the distant future, an unknown future, and make decisions based on that, like it's terrifying. So what does it really mean to have the courage to lead? It means that you're not afraid to go against the status quo. You're not afraid to speak up and go against those who try to convince us otherwise. And you're not afraid to say no to the people who are putting pressure on us to go in a different direction than what our just cause says. Now, that all is obviously easier said than done. So how do you find and build the courage to do all of those things? For one, you have to surround yourself with people who also believe in that just cause. Whether that's looking for that group of people or building that group of people who trust us and that we can trust to want to work towards that goal. You have to identify a worthy rival, somebody who also is working towards creating this better world world and seeing what they're doing so that you can continue to grow yourself. And you have to remind yourself that you're more committed to the just cause than any particular path or strategy that you're currently executing on. This mindset is a great reminder that the purpose of your business is to do something more heroic than just making money. When you have a vision that you are clear on, it's going to guide you and drive you forward no matter what project you're working on. Infinite leaders see that no matter what stage they're just at the tip of the iceberg, and that there is so much more to be enjoyed and learned and discovered. If you enjoyed this video, I recommend checking out my entire book club playlist where you can find more videos just like this. But that's my deep dive on Simon Sinek's The Infinite Game. We explored the core concepts and the 5 best practices that are going to drastically shift how you look at your business and how you lead. If this book club session inspired you or sparked some new ideas in you, let's keep chatting about it. I do have a Discord server, and within that server, I have a book club channel where we talk everything to do with books. The link for the server will be in the description box below, and I would love to hear how you plan on implementing the principles from The Infinite Game in your work and in your life. As always, thanks for watching. I hope you're having an amazing day wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!